This is Answer Me That on Storm FM, sponsored by Bar Uno.
This is Storm FM, and we're here to answer your questions this week. First up, we have a question about Black Friday, then the origins of underwear, followed by how do you put up with someone you just can't stand, and how many words are in the Oxford English Dictionary, and whatever else we can come up with. This week, I'm also joined by Maggie.
Hello. Good afternoon, CJ.
Afternoon. And we'll be answering your questions all day, so don't forget to get into contact. Email studio@stormfm.com, text Storm plus your message to 60300, or use the nifty little form on our website or our Facebook page, facebook.com/stormamt.
This is Answer Me That on Storm FM. Send your questions to studio@stormfm.com, facebook.com/stormamt, or text Storm plus your message to 60300. Text charge at your standard network rate.
So welcome back to Answer Me That. And we're going to get on now to our first question of the day, which is, what is Black Friday? Now, we've just had Black Friday in the UK. It's the first Friday after Thanksgiving. But where does it actually come from? Do you have any ideas, Maggie?
No, actually, to be honest, all I know about Black Friday is the amount of fighting that there is over shopping and over getting the best deals, really. So all I know about Black Friday is the amount of fights and people queuing up in shops. And all of that, really. I don't know anything about the history of it, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks pretty terrible from the YouTube videos online, because I know I just went to Aldi and bought pot. That's my Black Friday. But yeah, Black Friday refers to a couple of points in history. One of the more important ones in the UK is probably the suffragette movement in 1910. This was when Parliament said that they weren't going to discuss a bill which would have allowed women to have the vote for the first time. It would have been wealthy women and landowners, but they said there's no time left in Parliament's current session. And then the suffragette movement just moved in and decided to protest. Can't blame them.
Right. Oh, that's actually quite interesting, yes. Yeah.
I've got more of a recent one as well. In 1993, Toy Story, or the production of it, was nearly halted. So the first go, DreamWorks had their own ideas for the show and, well, the film and what it should be. But the production and Disney said, no, they wanted Woody to be like a dictator and this evil toy who was really jealous of Buzz Lightyear. So they mocked it up, they recorded the voices and things, took it in, screened it, and they said, this is terrible, it's an abomination. And, well, yeah, it's not their work, it wasn't their original idea, so it would have been.
Yeah, I can imagine. I wouldn't like to see that Toy Story, to be honest.
It's a bit of a different take.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, one of the ones relating to Black Friday as we know it now is in America in the 1980s, part of the gold rush. The price of gold had been inflating really quickly, and suddenly it just went to a huge drop, so everyone wanted to spend it quickly, and some people believe that's the origins of Black Friday these days.
Right, so what's the link being after Thanksgiving?
I have no idea.
Because it's always after Thanksgiving Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's thought to be the first shopping day of the Christmas season.
Right.
So originally it was called Black Friday by the police because of the amount of traffic on the road and the amount of problems they had with shops being mobbed and things.
Yes.
And they named it Black Friday, and obviously it was for negative connotations. But then they were going, it should be called something else, and they did try and rename it. I think it was Great Friday or something like that, but it never took off.
You know, Black Friday sounds about accurate. You have to, you could make the link with the black eyes that people get going shopping.
You could do.
Yeah.
But the financiers and all the people doing accounting, they decided that it was Black Friday because that's when shops would be in the black. So traditionally, shops would be in debt up until the Christmas period, so they'd be in the red, and then they'd be operating at a profit. So they decided to say they were working in the black.
Oh, very interesting. Yes. Good.
So yeah, that's where Black Friday comes from anyway. Next up, we're going to discuss what to do if someone irritates you and you can't stand them. So that should be an interesting one.
Well, I would say if someone's irritating you, just take a deep breath, count to 10, maybe look away. I would walk away sometimes even. Just don't even talk back to them, just walk away. That's I think the more sane, the more disciplined approach to it.
It's a more civil way to do it.
Yes.
But we'll discuss that more in a minute. Until then, you can tell us what you would do and how you would deal with people by texting Storm plus your message to 60300 or emailing studio@stormfm.com. Use the nifty little form on our website or go to facebook.com/stormamt.
This is Answer Me That on Storm FM. Send your questions to studio@stormfm.com, facebook.com/stormamt, or text Storm plus your message to 60300.
So now we're going to discuss what to do if someone annoys you. So Maggie's already said she'd try and walk away from them. What would you do if you were stuck in a room with them?
Stuck in a room?
Yeah.
And not being able to walk out? Well, I would say just take a deep breath. Try and stay calm. Do not raise your voice. Do not try and raise any more anger really than there is already. Just that. I would say try not to get aggressive.
Well, my ex's nan used to count to 10 whenever her husband was annoying her, and sometimes she'd have to do it 3 or 4 times over. But eventually, she did stop from swearing or doing anything else.
Yes, swearing is not a bad thing either, to just release some of that anger yourself.
Depending on who it is, most definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But my mum's texting, didn't use the studio line, so naughty woman. But she said, and she genuinely does do this when people annoy her, she goes, no, giggle bits. And she'll say it over and over until they shut up.
Yes, that would annoy the other person.
Which is a good tactic, because it should shut them up.
True, yes.
And she said what I always do, which I do when I'm on the phone to my dad, is I tell my mum to gibbs him, which means hit him across the back of the head.
Yes, not a bad tactic either. But that's when you're away, though. You're on the phone.
Yeah.
So you're not physically in a room with that person. So there is a slight difference there, isn't there?
Yeah. But he can be quite annoying on the phone. You'd be surprised he's well practiced.
Yes, well, see, on the phone, you've got another one. Just hang up.
Yeah.
And then call back whenever, you smashed your phone and find yourself a new phone.
Well, I got quite annoyed in a meeting I had with the president of the Family Court Division. Mm-hmm. He basically didn't understand technology, and I was trying to explain it to him, and he was being one of these annoying old fogies like, yeah, but we can control it. And it was like, you can't. So what I had to do there was just bite my tongue. I did really want to swear at him at points.
Yes. Again, count to 10 or take a deep breath, stay diplomatic.
Yeah. I get to argue with him again on the 11th of December anyway, so I won last time.
Good. See?
So,
the youth takes over.
Yeah. Hopefully shut him up again next time.
Good.
So the next question we're going to get onto is, where did underwear originate? Well, the question was, did Victorians invent underwear? But I've managed to find a timeline online of when underwear was invented or found. So
Right, interesting.
it depends what you actually define as underwear, because obviously in the olden days they didn't have sewing machines and all that kind of stuff. So they did used to wear the loincloths, and the women would wear like a wrap around them, and that was like the first ones, and that's noted at about 100 AD.
Right.
Yeah, and linen shorts actually started coming out around the 13th century, and men started wearing them.
Yes, yeah.
So that's probably when underwear as we know it now was invented.
Okay.
But then you had like bone corsets and stuff like that come out in the 1600s, and then you had knickers as they're known now in the 1800s. So yeah, it was before the Victorians really, depending on how you define underwear.
Yes, yeah, in a way it would be, yes. That's all quite interesting, that. I wouldn't have thought of a question like this, but there you go, now I know the answer.
Well, that's the whole premise of the show. We get questions from any random person. And some of them are rather random. Mm-hmm. My parents, for a start, they're not normal.
You're listening to Answer Me That on Storm FM. Don't forget to send your questions to facebook.com/stormamt.
So our next question is, how many words are in the Oxford English Dictionary? Any ideas, Maggie?
No. I know there will be quite a lot of words, but no, not really.
Yeah, it was actually a pain to research this one because you've got like so many people taking up the name, and you've got the Oxford English Dictionary, then the Oxford English Dictionary online, and then all these other variants.
Yes.
So it took some Googling.
I can imagine that, yes.
But yeah, apparently they add to it every quarter, so every 3 months or so.
Right.
And last time they checked properly was about 600,000 words, so...
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be the one sitting counting all the words in the dictionary.
Not me. And apparently there's over 3 million quotations.
3 million quotations, wow.
Yeah, we've also been asked what some of the newer words which have been added. So, do you know any?
I think I heard that selfie and YOLO and all the words that the young hip people are using, that they have been added to the dictionary. However, I'm not quite sure if that's 100% true, but
yeah, YOLO was and selfie was.
Gosh.
Unfortunately, now you've got the selfie pole as well, so people can put their cameras on the end and take selfies at a distance.
Yes, I've actually seen one of those when I went on holiday this year. It's crazy. They were actually trying to sell them.
Yeah.
Like, no thanks, I'm okay. But yes.
People are spending all this extra money on a selfie pole when they could just buy a monopod, and then it actually reaches the floor and you can use it for other things as well.
Yes.
The sense of people these days.
Yes.
But yeah, you've also got words like caseness, which does sound completely made up, which is the degree to which the... Can you read that?
The degree to which the accepted standardized diagnostic
criteria for a given condition are applicable to given patients.
Right.
So yeah, go gobbledygook.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they're making stuff up just for the sake of making it up, really.
Yeah, there are lots of words which do sound made up, though. Mm-hmm. It's like, quite a while ago now, my friend always used to say discombobulated instead of confused, just because she could.
Confuzzled, I say. That's the one I use. Confuzzled.
My one friend who moved to Australia, he just used to go around and go, meh. And that would be the whole conversation with him if he got confused. Yes.
Yeah, it is quite a common expression on the internet, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's the only person I know, though, who actually says it in person.
In real life? All right.
He was always a bit of a weirdo, though.
You do get them.
Yeah, me and my friends always used to joke that the fact he moved to Australia was so he could grow, because he used to be quite short, and now he's about normal height.
Oh, very interesting. Australia must have worked wonders for him.
I know, it's being upside down for you.
Yes.
This is Answer Me That on Storm FM, sponsored by Bar Uno.
So our next question is, how many elements are in the periodic table? Do you know offhand?
No, we've got the periodic table open here, but I'm afraid I don't know exactly how many there are. I'm going to take a guess, and I think something 60 maybe? No, hold on. No, they're all numbered, but they're all random numbers, so no, go on. How many?
There are currently 188.
Oh, wow, okay.
They're not all on that table.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah, we currently know of about 188 of them.
Okay. The only one that I was quite certain of is AU being gold. But that was about it. And other than that, the only other time that I've used or seen the periodic table was by watching Breaking Bad in the opening credits. So I don't use it personally because I've never had the need to, but mm-hmm.
I knew NI was nickel because, well, my friend's name was Nicola and I used to call her it in physics just because.
Well, there you go. That's the one you will always remember.
Yeah. And I think everyone really remembers gold because everyone likes gold and money.
Yes.
Anyway, going from the periodic table is probably quite a good segue into what metals actually rust. So have you got any ideas?
No, to be honest, I don't. my knowledge when it comes to metal is if it sits outside for too long, it rusts. But like I know that with bikes and stuff. However, I've got no idea what metal that the regular bikes are made out of, or tins. I know that when you have a tin and you're covered for so long, or it gets wet, the bottom of it gets all rusty and brown. But no, I'm not quite sure of the name of the metal, to be honest.
Usually is reserved for the use with aluminium. So when it gets rusty, it's where oxygen has reacted with the metal and is accelerated by water and stuff to create an aluminium oxide layer. And that's what the rust is.
Oh.
But
I did not know that.
It is used on other materials, but scientifically speaking, people are dumb. But
well, it would be the cheapest one to use if it's so very common then.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're particularly dumb, more than wanting to sell as much of their products for the cheapest production.
Yeah, it's basically modern day consumerism.
Yes.
Make it as cheap as you can. If it breaks, it just means they buy more off you.
Exactly. Yes.
But yeah, copper, when it oxidizes, actually turns green or black, so it changes color rather than going, as we call it, rusty.
Right.
So that is a bit more interesting. Some which don't rust are platinum and gold, which are very resistant. When you get things like white gold and things, they're usually plated with something to make them change color.
Yes, because I remember I had a white gold ring, and after having it for a certain amount of time, it was starting to get yellow. So I brought it to the shop and I asked what's wrong with it, and they're like, "Oh no, it's nothing. It's just got off. The protective layer came off." So so it just needs readjusted sometimes.
I did go to a shop before about a ring, and I looked into getting it dipped so it'd go back all shiny. And they wanted to charge me like 45 quid to dip this tiny ring.
Oh no.
So I told them very politely where to go because I wasn't paying that.
Well, no, exactly.
It can stay a little off yellow.
Yes.
But yeah, things like titanium don't rust either. Titanium really is ideal for use in things like aircraft and stuff.
Yes.
Because of its protective qualities and the fact that it's so light. But it's not used because it's so expensive to produce and to mine. So it is used on some of the faster aircraft where they're at high speed. They have to be like heat resistant to higher temperatures than normal planes, which are made out of a aluminium skin or out of a composite body.
Right. I did not know that they could actually make planes out of titanium. No, it was titanium.
Yeah,
yes,
titanium.
yes. My word. Learn something new every day.
Yeah, some planes, when they're going really fast, like Mach 1 and things like that, if they weren't made out of it, the skin would literally start to melt on the plane as it's flying.
Oh.
So they have to make certain parts of the plane out of different materials.
Right. Now, this might be a little more research-wise, but how would they get the titanium into the right shape for that plane then?
It gets heated to an even higher temperature.
Right, okay.
So it's usually used with like carbon fiber composite to make the rest of the body and a mixture of aluminium and titanium.
Wow. Oh, very good.
See, I did learn something when I worked for British Airways.
Well, yes.
But yeah, that's more or less it on that one. Chromium and magnesium are also mixed with some, and when they create their oxide layer, it's sort of self-repairing. So
Right.
if there's a dent, it'll react with the air, well, the chip, and it'll start to close the gap again. So
That's not bad.
they're called self-repairing, but what they're actually doing is corroding. So they're sort of self-deprecating as well at the same time.
Yes. Oh, very good. Well, to be honest, like I said, I know very little when it comes to metals and what kind of different metals with the periodic table as well. Like I wouldn't have known any of them really. I never actually did anything science-wise.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't learn any of it at school. It's when I went to British Airways, they were like, oh, you have to study the different bits to do with different materials. And
yeah, I bet you regret not learning that at school then.
it would have been more interesting than some of the lessons we had.
Yes.
Like, actually learning how planes fly and stuff, that's more interesting than what happens to this metal if we leave it on the side for a week, or if we add salt to this water and put it on top of the radiator, will it be just salt next week? And that was just boring lessons.
Yes, there's actually not much use to that in everyday life. Yeah. So I see how that can be a bit annoying.
At the end of the year was good though, because our teacher actually filled these bubbles with gas, and we wet a student's arms. They picked up the bubbles and we basically torched them. And because the water was a protective layer, the bubbles burnt, and instead of them being burnt, it just vaporized the water with the heat.
Oh.
So it was perfectly safe. No one was injured.
Yes. Otherwise, you'd get all sorts of child protection, whatever, to schools. Offset. Anything.
Someone go help those kids.
Yes, not safe. But yeah, no, that was really interesting, that one.
You're listening to Answer Me That on Storm FM. Don't forget to send your questions to facebook.com/StormAMT.
So that's all we've got time for this week. We're just coming up to 2 o'clock now.
Okay, well, I must say it was brilliant being on the show. Thank you very much for having me today.
It's been much better than sitting and talking to myself all day like usual.
Well, yes.
Although you are usually on Facebook chat.
Yes, I was going to say, instead of listening to the show today, I was actually on it, and it was brilliant, a lovely experience. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thanks for coming on. Glad you enjoyed it.
I did, yes.
Don't forget to send your questions in for next week to studio@stormfm.com. Use the subject line AMT, text Storm plus your message to 60300. Use the nifty little form on our website, or use our Facebook page, facebook.com/.